Festive operation on the 17th of October 2024 at Mabato Stadium. The operation itself had begun 2 weeks earlier on the 1st of October 2024. The operation, which was led by South African Police Service, is a multidisciplinary Prov joint coordinated operation comprised of different pillars or identified threats and executed in predetermined phases. During the provincial activation, the different law enforcement and security agencies were deployed to execute their line function operational mandates as encompassed in different operational focus pillars or areas. The operation, which ran for 4 months from the 1st of October to the 31st of January 2025, had been highly successful in that law enforcement officers were able to, among others, fuel plan cash in transit and ATMs bombings. The operation was intended to focus but not limited to the following: prevention of crime against vulnerable groups, the elderly, women and children, as well as the people living with disability; combating aggravated robberies, including vehicle hijackings, robbery at residential premises, and business robberies; enhancing border security, preventing stolen property from crossing the borders; combating drugs and human trafficking, and tracing of wanted suspects; enforcement of legislation in respect of firearm, liquor, and second-hand goods; ensure that there is a compliance with safety of the Sports and Recreational Events Act, SASREA; enforcing bylaws targeting hijacked buildings, unlawful sale and use of firecrackers; joint law enforcement operation to ensure compliance with road safety and other road regulations; combating drunken driving, speeding and all moving violation; inspection of vehicles for roadworthiness. The operation will also be on the lookout for cloned vehicles and cloned license plates. Relentless multidisciplinary operation had also confiscated contraband ranging from counterfeit goods, expired food, as well as the suspected stolen and robbed goods. It is as a result of this targeted intelligence-led operation that the province had a relative quieter festive period. There were festives across the province, including Mahikeng, the annual Makapan Starter Trooper Festival, the Potchefstroom Dam Music Festival, and tourists visiting Sun City and Hartebeos, but all those went with no incident thanks to the safer festive operation. We did experience some uneasiness at some point, especially in December, when there were unusual long queues of trucks at 3 of the province's commercial ports of entry, with Botswana at Kopfontein, Ramatlabam and Sorkopfontein. This followed the new regulations at the border on the Botswana side, which resulted in gridlock. This posed health, security and economic threats and needed an urgent intervention. The chairperson of Prov, General Asaneng, immediately engaged the Botswana authorities, and within 2 days, the traffic congestion and logjam were eased, allowing free unobstructed movement of goods and people between the two countries. Between the 11th of October 2024 and the 31st of January 2025, the law enforcement had arrested 20,427 for 20,470 for a variety of offences. This included 1,250 undocumented foreign nationals and 109 murder suspects. You will remember that since November, we had been absorbed by the resurfacing of illegal miners in Stilfontein. As had been reported in several media engagements, 1,916 illegal miners have been arrested after resurfacing at Margaret Shaft and Buffelsfontein gold mine at shaft number 10 and 11 between August 2024 and January 2025. Furthermore, our operation included visitation to licensed liquor dispensing premises and second-hand good dealers to ensure they comply with the law. We closed down 481 unlicensed liquor premises as they contravened regulation. Application of the law and compliance enforcement was not only confined to ordinary members of the community. We had also recently arrested 4 members of the police in connection with the escape of one of the resurfaced illegal miners, Neo Tiger Tswaidi. A week ago, we arrested 2 suspects who had crossed the border and were found to be in possession of crystal meth with an estimated street value of 30 million rand in Zeerust at Ramotsermilwa local municipality. 2 weeks ago, we also arrested 3 suspects in Hartbeespoort with hijacked goods worth more than 12 million rand. The highlights of some of the successes of this operation by law enforcement are highlighted by the five terms that were imposed on the accused, who was found guilty of aggravated robberies and 5 counts of rape. The other is the triple life sentence imposed on a rape accused, who was found guilty of 3 counts of rape committed between May 2010 and September 2023. Sadly, this criminality, which knows no bounds, claimed the life of 45-year-old Sergeant Fundiswa Matlhauleng, who was gunned down on the 14th of January 2025 in Klerksdorp as she was on her way to work. Thank you very much. Let me give over to Major General Asani.
No, thank you very much, Honorable MEC. Let me also observe the protocol as already indicated. And greetings to members of the media who are in attendance. As the MEC has already indicated, members of the media, today's media briefing is convened precisely to come and particularly speak to the people of the Northwest Province, the government, and all our key stakeholders. The media briefing is called because on the 17th of October 2024, the MEC, joined by members of the Provincial Joint Operational and Intelligence Structure, Prov joints, and the Provincial Commissioner, launched what we called our annual Safer Festive operation. This operation, members of the media, is an annual operation that is conducted every year from October until the end of January of the following year. So we have just concluded our provincial Safer Festive operation as the Northwest Province. Basically, the operation ran for almost 4 months. And during that period, we managed to achieve successes. We managed to bring the levels of crime down in the province. We managed to ensure that the objective of the operation, particularly during the busy Safer Festive period, there is relative calm and security in the province. Just to give a brief synopsis of the commendable successes and arrests that were made. For that period during Safer Festive, which entailed Operation Chanela, Operation Vutahawe, which is mainly our compliance operation, as well as the road safety Arrive Alive campaign, we managed to arrest a total of 150 suspects who were charged for murder. A total of 660 people were arrested for rapes, 2,926 for assault with intent to do grievous bodily harm. Maybe even before I talk about the other arrests, MEC, we want to make a humble appeal to the people of the province, to our communities. These high numbers of arrested people for assault GBH, these are crimes committed by people who are known to one another, relatives, in domestic relationships and all these things. That tells us that our crime is characterized by what we regard as gratuitous violence, which is unnecessary. So we want to really urge members of the public not to resort to violence in trying to address whatever differences and problems that they are having. I have been contacted, MEC, by the heads of corrections in the province who are actually complaining to the police that their centers are full to the brim. And I unfortunately disappointed them to say, as long as the high levels of crime in the province are there, we have no option but to send a stern message to crime and criminals that they will be arrested, those who break the law. A total of arrests that were made, it's 30,166 people that were arrested for 4 months. You can see this tells us that there is a serious problem of crime and criminality in our communities. Of these arrests, 80 people were arrested for illegal possession of firearms. A total of cumulatively 144 actually were arrested for illegal possession of firearms, dealing in drugs 103 people, and then illegal dealing in liquor, what we colloquially refer to as shebeens. A total of 481 arrests were made, leading to the closure of these unlicensed liquor premises. Possession of drugs continue to be a problem, like the MEC has indicated. We saw recently the arrest of a vehicle that was in transit through Botswana into South Africa, where drugs were seized. But before that, a total of 1,471 people were arrested for being in possession of drugs. And these are only those that were in possession. We arrested 16 people for car hijacking. Those that were arrested for assault, not by detectives, it's 3,277. So we are concerned about these illegal immigrants, not only those that were arrested during Valam Godin Stelfontein, a total of 3,090 undocumented persons were arrested throughout the length and breadth of the province. So we are seeing an increase in acts of criminality in our communities, and we want to send a strong message. Over and above the arrests that we have made, we also confiscated different types of contraband. 20 whilst we were enforcing the operation, you will recall, members of the media and the public, that at some point the country was concerned about suspected food poisoning. We jointly, as members of the Prov joints and other departments, conducted inspections in the Brett area. A factory was found which was manufacturing and recycling expired goods, where they were manufacturing peanut butter, macaroni, and other things for human consumption. So we managed to close that factory. Drugs, particularly crystal meth, continue to be a problem in our communities. A total of 352,268.87 grams of crystal meth has been seized by the police, removed from the streets. Heroin amounting to 148.35 grams and 9 tablets was also confiscated during the operation. Dagga or cannabis continue to be a problem. We know that the Constitutional Court has allowed the use of dagga or cannabis for private purposes, but we still see people who are dealing in dagga, and we managed to arrest those that were also dealing in drugs, because it is mostly the youth that are affected by the use of this dagga. Precious metals, we managed to also recover only copper and aluminium, 847 and 178 kilograms of copper that was seized. This copper, what is of concern is that it comes mostly from incidents of damage to critical and essential infrastructure. As I was talking to the MEC, and I want to send this message, particularly in our municipalities and in our communities, because we have seen people that I would regard as insurrectionists who masquerade as social activists, mobilizing communities in the guise that they are concerned about lack or poor delivery of basic services. But these people end up resorting to destruction of essential services, water reservoirs, electrical piping, and all these things. We want to say, as the Prov joins and as the police, that we will pursue these people who are involved in damage to essential infrastructure without fear or favor. And we want to request our communities not to allow themselves to be used by these individuals in the commission and the perpetration of these crimes. So all in all, I can say that our Safer Festive, over and above what the Honorable MEC has indicated, you will recall, members of the media, that the Safer Festive operation also starts with the safeguarding of the matriculation exams. We know that we have never recorded as a province incidents of disruption. As part and parcel, we also requested and warned, working with the Department of Education, our communities, parents, and everybody, that after the conclusion of the exams, they must not allow children to engage in this practice and all these things that often leads to loss of life, consumption of liquor, and all these things. We can say that we are satisfied with how our Safer Festive operation went, and we believe that working together, government, the police, law enforcement, the joints, our community police forums, traditional authorities, we can make our province, the Northwest, safe going forward. This is not the end, but the start of this journey of making sure that our communities, our women, our children are and feel safe, and that is the ideal that all of us must strive for. I thank you, MEC.
Thank you, General. We are now going to open for questions, ladies and gentlemen. You all know what we normally do. You introduce yourself, and then your media house, then you pose your question. Who's going to start? I don't see hands. Are you all okay?
No,
This seems to be a record breaking.
it's very clear.
Okay, Lizette.
Can I get an understanding on the concerns around the hijack I'm not sure we want to take that. I take it MC was referring maybe to Rustenburg where you've had some concerns. But what are we doing in the long term in terms of ensuring that those buildings are either taken by the state, demolished, or the like? Because I've been told actually raiding the two and then out, and then tomorrow another person has moved in there. So what is the long term solution for us?
Okay, thank you, Lizette. You can respond, General.
No, thank you very much, Lizette. It is true. The hijack building dimension of the province is different from other provinces like your Gauteng. What we realized when myself and the MEC were visiting operations during Safer Festive, on the 28th we were in Rustenburg, just before we had conducted an operation. One aspect that we managed to notice there was that some of the guest houses and lodges that are there are now being used, of course with the knowledge of their owners, as brothels, as places where people would go there and commit these things. And we must remember that these guest houses and these places are licensed by government to conduct a particular type of business. And in that instance, when we investigate and we find out that the owner is not complying, then we go the asset forfeiture route, so that then once successful prosecution has been concluded, we can take that type of business from its owner. But over and above that, we also have discovered in Rustenburg, there were houses that were previously owned by the mines. And as mines close, some of these houses are left unoccupied, and people in the main, undocumented migrants, take occupation. In Mahikeng, what we have discovered, particularly around Goldview, and we are working with the Department of Public Works in terms of ensuring that the asset register of government is properly maintained and is looked into, so that houses that belong to government are not occupied by people who are not supposed to occupy them, and also those premises are not used for illegal purposes like selling of drugs and all these things. But where we find that there is private ownership, like I say, then we make sure. But unoccupied, dilapidated buildings, we make sure, working with the municipality, of course, that they are demolished so that they are not used as crime dens. Thank you.
Thank you, General. I've noted Refilwe. Then after Refilwe, it will be Obakeng. In that order.
My name is Ms. Television Africa. I just wanted to ask about the issue that happened in Dinokana, where a person was set alight because they later died, having been accused of stabbing a native boy. With community saying they don't have that much confidence in the police in dealing with such incidents, and they end up taking law into their own hands, incidents of mob justice. What do you have to say about that?
Okay, thank you. Obakeng.
Thank you, Dr. Mukhabane. My name is Obakeng Maje from Downey Daily News. My first question is regarding the crime intelligence system in the province. Is the SAPS happy regarding the efficiency of the crime intelligence system? The reason why I'm asking this because there are so many crimes that are taking place across the province, but it seems our law enforcement agencies were caught napping. So are you happy how the crime intelligence system is? And on the other issue is the working relationship between the police and CPFs. Because we understand that, extend the question to what my colleague has asked. Most of the community or residents, they don't believe or have confidence in the police. For example, you go to Pudumo police station, there's a complaint there, one of the CPF members complained that the station commander is running everything in solo in that side. So how is the working relationship? And then last question goes to, I'm asking whether our law enforcement personnel have enough tool of trade. And then are you not concerned regarding the touching of infrastructure across the province? Because it seems after 3 months, we will have something being touched. So those are my questions. Thank you.
Thank you, General and MEC.
Let me start with Refilwe. Refilwe, what you are asking about, it's not necessarily feedback on the Safer Festive, but if you were listening, members of the media, in my report, I also condemned the wanton destruction of property that we see happening in our community by people who may even have genuine, legitimate concerns about poor or non-delivery of basic services. It is now the norm, and I will be straightforward. if you go to places and municipalities like Ditsobotla, Mahikeng, and so on, from time to time, we see, including Zirast, we see some members of the communities there engaging in what actually constitute crime by going and barricading roads, damaging infrastructure, whilst they are saying they are exercising their rights. This will never be tolerated because rights are coupled with responsibilities. Now, your question talks about a recent incident. This is vigilantism, this is mob justice that will not be tolerated by the police. We want to request our communities to work with us, to work with government and the authorities, because more often than not, is that people who encourage others to resort to these extrajudicial methods are themselves trying to hide their involvement in crime. We want to make sure that when people are accused of committing crime, due process is followed, proper investigation is done, people are brought before the court. No matter how painful, no matter how brutal they are alleged to have committed such crime. So this incident of the Nokana will be investigated, and hopefully those who engage in this barbarism must be prepared to face the wrath of the law. It cannot be correct that when others are accused to have committed crime, then the systems that are put in place, the police, the courts, are bypassed by people who would want to do this, because that's a recipe for anarchy and lawlessness. So that is our response to that. This matter will be investigated fully, including the crime that this victim is alleged to have committed. So we urge and we request our people to work with us. I'm not sure what is your understanding of what you call crime intelligence system. It is important that maybe sometimes we have the same understanding of what is it that we are talking about. Crime intelligence is a component within the police, but intelligence is the responsibility of the State Security Agency, crime intelligence, and defense intelligence. Now, intelligence doesn't necessarily say crime cannot happen. That's not what intelligence is. Intelligence entails that there will be instances where proactively information is gathered, but there will be instances where reactively we need to get intelligence. Let me make an example in answering your question. How is intelligence going to stop a partner, a husband, who kills the wife in the house, if we understand what intelligence is? So whilst there are issues and challenges that we need to address insofar as intelligence is concerned, it should not be that no, crime happens and then there's no intelligence. So we should understand, and when we talk about this concept, we understand how they work. So from a policing point of view, from a Prov Joint's point of view as the chairperson, we are happy whilst we are having our own challenges that we are dealing with to try and capacitate our intelligence. But also, it should be understood that intelligence doesn't necessarily refer to people that are formally employed in that space. Intelligence talks about your communities. We want to build active citizenry where people respond and report. That's intelligence. Yourself, you can't sit, watch when your neighbor is being attacked and say, no, it's the responsibility of crime intelligence. You can't sit when people are breaking. We spoke about community police forums and the police. The relationship between the police and community police forum is sound. Now, I have said previously when I was addressing the media MECA to say, when a few drops of the ocean are dirty, it doesn't mean the entire ocean is dirty. There will be instances where at a particular station, there is no cordial or sound relationship between the community police forum and the police, or with certain individuals. What is of critical importance is for us to say what causes that friction. Even in our private domestic relationship, as husbands and wives, parents and children, there will always be misunderstanding, but it doesn't mean that we should not work together. So it is important that when these incidents or these misunderstandings are reported, they should not be blown out of proportion to say that there is no working relationship between the police, community, police forum, and so on. So that is what I want to say. Lastly, are we having enough resources? It will never be enough. It will never be enough. Previously, when I was with the MEC and we were addressing you members of the media about what was happening in Stelfontein, about the rescue plan that has cost government a lot of money, the MEC clearly said government has a limited budget. The president will be talking, the minister of finance will be talking, so it cannot be that we are saying we are having enough resources. Not only the police, but any government department, any institution. The question is, what is enough? Enough of what? Enough clinics, enough schools, enough police vehicles, and so on. So it is how we use the little that we have that matters. So the misuse of what we are given is what will not be tolerated. But at no particular point in time will we say we are having enough resources. I thank you.
Okay, is the follow-up? Okay.
It's a follow-up question. All right. Thank you, Dr. Mokhavan. I think it will be best for Major General to listen to the question before you respond. I never mentioned or maybe combined crime intelligence system with the issues that are happening behind closed doors like GBV. Those are societal issues. My question based on intelligence, I understand that SAPS, you will correct me if I'm wrong, if you don't have any unit, an intelligence unit in the SAPS. If it's not there, it's okay. But my question was, the intelligence in the province, is it doing enough? Or are you happy? Is it efficient enough to the contribution of neutralization of crime? So the issue of GBV or issues that are happening behind closed doors, those are matters that need everyone or every society to report them. You cannot bring intelligence or maybe question the intelligence, crime intelligence in the province when the man is beating up his wife behind closed doors. That is irrelevant. Thank you.
Can we maybe take the last round before General respond? If maybe we have somebody who wants to pose a question.
No, there's nothing to respond. He was just he was making a statement.
Okay.
Yeah, I've made my point. It stands. So he was making a statement.
Thank you, General.
Yeah. So the purpose here is to come and brief the community and to have understanding. Yeah, so I was just explaining what is crime intelligence. And yeah,
Thank you, General. Is the MEC covered?
No, I'm covered.
Okay. Thank you, MEC. Thank you, General. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. This actually brings us to the end of the briefing session, but those who want to have one-on-one interviews with the General and the MEC, they are available. We also have Captain Msinga from BMA is also available for a one-on-one in case you want to pose questions to him. Thank you so much, MEC. Thank you, General. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, including our internal media. Thank you so much for your presence. Thank you.
no, thank you.